Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. I'm your coach, your host, David On Point. Right there, CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. And today, we are going to be breaking down the 2022 season preview for your New York Football Giants. Bringing the most up-to-date content. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you've come to the right place. We go live basically every day, bringing the most up-to-date comment. Please like, share, and subscribe on this show. Every single like, every single share, every single subscribe helps us build this brand. So we very much appreciate it for everybody who's checked out lately. The viewership is actually up about 25% over what we did last month. So we very much appreciate the consistent checking us out. So please like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, New York Giants, interesting one here. 2022 season preview. We have jumped into the NFC East, if you couldn't already tell. So we're going to do the Giants, the Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, and then we're going to finish it off with the Dallas Cowboys, who won this division last year, who actually have one of the easiest schedules in the league. Izzy, what's up, man? How are you, buddy? Also, if you want to get involved in this show, I have shared the StreamYard link to all of the places on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and on Facebook as well. So if you want to join us and talk a little bit of New York Giants football, you're more than welcome to do so. But as I mentioned on every show that we talk about, keep your comments, please, PG. We do not want to get in trouble with the powers that be. That is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, I'm David Huffman. Let's get into this show. Izzy, welcome, man. How are you, buddy?
What's going on, brother? I'm doing well. I'm trying to fix my audio difficulties here, but I'm doing well.
Yeah, thank you very much, David Henderson, for bringing in the fans here. We have appreciated your contributions onto this show very much, my friend. Thank you, for real.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We do appreciate that very much. I'm going to share the link into the NFL Supreme page and the NBA Supreme page. So continue looking out for that content. But let's get into Giants. Izzy, so what are you expecting out of the Giants this year before we get into some storylines?
Well, I'm expecting a little bit of God, I really honestly don't know what to expect. I mean, Brian Daboll's coming over from a Bills team in which he helped, become a top 10 offense, and Josh Allen to become basically the quarterback that he is,
one of the faces of the league.
Yeah, one of the faces of the league. So they're hoping that he can do that with Daniel Jones, as basically they said after the season and the NFL meetings, like he's our quarterback. They didn't blink an eye. They didn't, even think about drafting a quarterback. They didn't even think about trading for one. They said, Daniel Jones is our guy. And, John Mara came out and said, we have done everything that we can to screw this kid up since he's been here, verbatim. So, when your owner comes out and says that, I mean, he kind of feels like we didn't put the right pieces around Daniel Jones. And honestly, I was looking at the roster last night, and I'm like, okay, this roster is kind of, it's built, I wouldn't say in a way they have two tackles now. They drafted one in Evan Neal. They had one in Andrew Thomas last year, the top 4 pick from Georgia. Hopefully he's healthy. He injured himself early in the season. Was it week 1 or whatever the case is? And then he basically was out. He basically came back for a game, and then he was out the rest of the season. Got put on IR. He caught a touchdown actually in that game. And then and so the way I look at the Giants, I just think that they're going to be in a way like the Jets. They're a young team that's going to learn how to win. They got to learn how to win football games. Are they going to be much improved on offense? I hope so. I mean,
I highly doubt it.
So that's why I said I hope so.
But yeah, this team is one of the. I think the Giants are going to be one of the worst teams in the National Football League. They'll be better, I think, than last season. And I think their defense has holes everywhere. I don't think they can get to consistent pass rush. And like Kayvon Thibodeau is just amazing right off the bat. So I guess we'll see what happens. Let's first talk about their storylines. The first one we got to talk about. You said make or break season for Daniel Jones. I think the states are more dire than that for Daniel Jones. This is a do or die season for Daniel Jones. If he does not play well this season, this will be his last job in the National Football League. He will not play another game in the National Football League if he does not figure it out this season. This is it for Daniel Jones. Looking at his career stats, he's been wildly underperforming basically since he became a very early pick for this team. And if you take a guy, was it 6th overall, you really expect him to have, a better than 10-7 touchdown to interception last season, 11-10, 24-12 his rookie season. He's basically regressed since his rookie year, and that's really not what you want to see out of somebody who's supposed to be a franchise guy.
Yeah, yes, I was looking at his stats last year. He only played in 11 games, so they shut him down before the neck injury. So he played 11 games, and before that, I mean, he was 29th in passing at, with just a little over 2,400 yards, 28th in touchdowns with only 10, third in the league with 7 interceptions, but that's because he didn't play a full season. And then his QBR was one of the worst in the league at 22nd at 41.5. So he has not been a good quarterback this year. And I could attain it to some of the young guys. I mean, last year he didn't. Kenny Galladay wasn't Kenny Galladay. Kadarius Toney's a rookie. Sterling Shepard was kind of banged up here and there. Saquon Barkley
Kenny Galladay
again.
Kenny Galladay caught as many touchdowns as everybody on this panel right now last season. And also adding to the show, Mr. TJ Hopkins. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing, buddy?
Better once the lag stops.
I think we got a little lag on him.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of connection issues here going here. So David Henderson asks, is Daniel Jones underperforming, or is it the team because he doesn't think the team has an identity?
I
think it's a little bit of both. Daniel Jones has been bad,
a little bit of both.
And this team has no identity.
The team doesn't have any identity. You're right.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can y'all hear? Man, this was
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. This is definitely a do or die season for Daniel Jones. Because of his age, I don't think he'll spend the rest of his career as a backup. He's only 25. Something like he's 25, 26.
25. He had just celebrated his 25th birthday last month.
So yeah, that's too young to just predetermine somebody as you're going to be a backup for the rest of your career. And because of how high he was drafted, he's going to get another opportunity to start somewhere. I don't know where that somewhere is.
I completely disagree with you. If he doesn't, I think if he flames out.
You can disagree with me.
I respectfully disagree with you.
Dude, Drew Lock is getting his second opportunity. You can't tell me Drew Lock is better than Daniel Jones.
I think it's closer than it should be.
It's not close at all.
I mean, it's closer than it should be. That's for damn sure.
It's not close. It's not close at all.
Drew Lock isn't really getting a second chance. I mean, he got traded. He got traded for Russell Wilson. They're just okay, you're gonna start.
He got traded for Russell Wilson. Yet Seattle easily could have said, "We don't want Drew Lock." They could have easily said that.
But they're not a team that's playing for the season. They're just Drew Lock just go do things.
That's not the point. You're missing the point.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You literally just brought up Seattle winning. I don't give a damn about Seattle winning. My point is, if Daniel Jones gets sit somewhere else, he's gonna have an opportunity to be the starter because of how young he is and because of his draft position.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Both of you guys make good points. I think that no, David, he's not gonna be out the league. Okay, he's not gonna be out of the league. And I think at worst, TJ, obviously he's gonna be a backup. He'll have a Mitch Trubisky type of trajectory, right? He'll sit behind someone for a season or two, and then have his way to maybe become a starter on some team that's probably like a bridge quarterback type of situation.
I think the big difference between Mitchell Trubisky and RG3 that David Henderson just referenced in the comments, they made a playoff berth in one season with them as their quarterback. They were productive. Daniel Jones has not been.
Has Daniel Jones been put in a position to be successful?
Not really, but it's still the point's still there.
And I just mentioned that
it goes hand in hand.
I just mentioned that. So that was one of the quotes that I said, TJ, earlier, if you didn't catch it. John Mara literally came out before the NFL meetings, and before they said Daniel Jones our quarterback, he's our quarterback, they didn't even blink an eye and drafting the quarterback, trading for one. He said, we have done everything we can to screw this kid up since he's been here. Meaning, they haven't put the pieces around the kid. They didn't put the two, and I think honestly, I think if he didn't have a bad, it's such of a negative position right now because he's not another bad, because his team is not good enough. But if you give him another 4 years or whatever, Evan Neal developed, Andrew Thomas developed at the tackle position. The offensive line growing there. Saquon Barkley, if he comes back and becomes what he used to be, then you got those three guys. Kenny Golladay comes back the way he used to be. Kadarius Toney turns out to be a really good after Yak guy in college, and then you got Sterling Shepard. I mean, you got some pieces there. But obviously, I don't think he's going to have a fair shake this year at all.
There are some weapons there, but I do think this is a do or die season for Daniel Jones. If he doesn't figure it out this season, I think his career as a starting quarterback, I think, will be it's murky at best. Moving on from there.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Moving on from there, team expectations, Brian Daboll now at the helm. You kind of saw what Brian Daboll did with Josh Allen with his 3 seasons with Josh Allen. Took him from super inaccurate to an MVP candidate, where he went basically increased his completion percentage by 10% in 1 season, or 2 seasons really. So what are we expecting out of Brian Daboll? Like, what we expect out of his offense? What do we expect this team to look like?
Well, you want to go first?
Yeah, I got it. The first thing Giants fans have to do is, if they haven't already, is understand that, Kenny Golladay wasn't reached. The guy put up numbers with 6 different quarterbacks in Detroit.
True.
Right. He just had a bad year last year. It happened.
He just couldn't stay healthy. It's not really on him.
It happens. Right.
No, last year in Detroit, he was always hurt. He was hurt. Remember? Oh my gosh, I don't even want to be reminded of that.
But it's but to say it's a reach is, after 1 year, is unfair, right? That is unfair. That is unfair, right? People could say the Packers reached on Amari Rodgers. The kid hasn't done anything after 1 year. That would be unfair, but they have to understand that Daniel Jones, with Brian Daboll, has to literally start from scratch with Daniel Jones, right? His athleticism is there. He has all the keys. He has all the weapons to be a good quarterback. He just has to start from scratch. His first coach in the NFL was it Joe Judge, or was it
yes, I think it was Joe Judge. It wasn't Tom Coughlin or whoever was before Tom Coughlin.
After Tom Coughlin.
I'll figure it out for you. Just continue with your point.
So, he hasn't had a good foundation to be successful. Like we've already mentioned that. The weapons around him have been a revolving door. At one point in time, he's a nice weapon. He's a nice receiver.
Pat Shurmur.
Pat Shurmur was the head coach for his first season. Then he had Joe Judge for 2, and now he's got Brian Daboll.
those are two of those with shoddy track records at best. We already mentioned how Joe Judge went for how the hell do you go from starting the special teams coordinator to head coach, right? Like that's skipping a couple of levels there. Like you got the offensive coordinator, you got the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, head coach. Like you skipped two reigns. Like
I think with special teams coordinators actually, because they have to spend so much time with the entirety of the roster. Like the guy who took over for John Gruden was a special teams coordinator.
David, don't justify it.
I'm just saying. I mean, what was this, Rick Schiani?
And I look at Joe Judge. We always complain about Joe Judge like as being that rah-rah guy, and it worked 2 seasons ago, and then last year that didn't work. You gotta get up and go, guys, and that didn't work last season. So
it doesn't set a good precedent for Dan Campbell then.
Was it Dan Campbell or whatever? When I look at he's the total epitome of that. When I look at their offense, their OC's Mike Kafka, shout out, local boy, St. Rita guy, and Northwestern as well product. So he was with Kansas City. He was the passing coordinator and the quarterback coach for the last 3 or 4 seasons. So that he's worked with Pat Mahomes, MVP candidate, a Super Bowl champ, in previous seasons. So that's going to be a plus for Daniel Jones this season. And then also, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, they got some work here with Don Martindale, right? He's the old Baltimore Ravens DC, old Baltimore Ravens linebacker coach forever from 2012 to 2017. So they have some solid coaches, assistant coaches here next to Brian Daboll. He's surrounded himself around some solid coaches. Now, this team's young. This team's still trying to find their way, still trying to learn how to win ball games. And in my opinion, that's going to be it. I think what Daboll is going to do, he's going to bring a little bit more balance. He's got Saquon Barkley. We saw it last year, in which he kind of committed to the run in certain games. He leaned a lot on Josh Allen. They leaned a lot on Josh Allen in some games, throwing it 45, 50 times sometimes. Down
the stretch, Devin Singletary was really good for them last season.
Right. So I think you're expecting that.
You don't need a down the stretch. Like, you need a start to finish. Like, down the stretch is fine. But you want consistency. Like, sorry to cut you off.
But I mean, Buffalo doesn't have a running back of the caliber of Saquon Barkley on their roster.
Right.
And neither do the Giants, because you don't know what Saquon Barkley's going to be. You don't know what he's going to be.
And so that was my point, is that so we're kind of hoping that the Giants fans and Giants faithful, they're hoping that Saquon Barkley, he's really the key, I think, in all this. I mean, if Saquon could return back to his form, if he can return back to his form, I mean, Daniel Jones don't have to do much. All he has to do is manage the game, get the ball to where his receivers in the right spots, and everything will take care of itself. But it all predicates on what Saquon Barkley. This offense revolves really around Saquon Barkley, in my opinion.
He's played 15 games in 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. In 13 games last year, he didn't even hit 600 yards. He was 7 yards short of 600. Part of that is him missing four games of the new 17-game season, and part of that is the terrible offensive line. He averaged 3.7 yards a carry. A lot of that was him literally dancing in the backfield just to get back to the line for it to be a net zero game.
I mean, it says he played 13 games last season. I'm not totally buying that. Did he play 13 games? I don't. It doesn't feel like he played 13 games last season.
Right, yeah. I mean, they were out of some games. They were way out of some games. Yeah, they were way out of some games in which you didn't really even notice he played.
I mean, that Dallas game, he had 2 carries in that game. That Tampa Bay game, he only had 6 carries in that game. I'm not really counting those as games that you play in. Like, so he played.
Okay, too bad for you. It doesn't work like that. Oh, you got 2 carries. You didn't play in the game. Like, no, you played, bro.
Well, that's my point, is that they got those games they got blown out in. He barely played it, and that's kind of the game played. But I mean, there's some games where it's like they were down so much that you have to rely on the passing game, and it's just like we're like we said, we're hoping Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas is healthy. Your left tackle, your right tackle that you just guarded or whatever. Evan Neal turns out to be who he turns out to be. and then everything kind of takes shape after that. But that offensive line does need to get healthy as well. They have so many holes.
And they addressed it a lot in free agency and in the draft. So let's actually talk about their draft right now. Actually, so let's go. Kayvon Thibodeau, pick number 5. They took Evan Neal at 7. In the second round, they took Wayndale Robinson, the wide receiver out of Kentucky. They took a guard out of North Carolina in the 3rd round. They took his teammate in the where's his teammate? Somebody else later in the 5th round. Another guard out of North Carolina. Dave Robinson, defensive tackle out of Arizona State. Yeah, Marcus McKeithen. Mika McFadden, linebacker out of Indiana. They took safety out of Iowa, Dwayne Belton. Daniel Bellinger, tight end, San Diego State, to replace Evan Ingram, who left in free agency. Cordell Float, cornerback, LSU. And then they took Joshua Ezeudu, guard, North Carolina. And then finally, Darren Beavers, linebacker out of Cincinnati. So what we think about their draft, when we did our draft coverage, I loved their first 2 picks, but I don't necessarily love anything else they did. I think they super reached on Wandale Robinson. There were better wide receivers on the board that they could have taken at that point in the draft. But the rest of it, I think it's good. You take a flyer on corners, you take a couple safeties, you get a linebacker, you had some depth. There's places where you needed some depth in guard and corner. Daniel Bellinger could be a good player down the line. Thoughts?
Daniel Belton could also be a good player down the line. Iowa, if an Iowa Hawkeye fan was to say Iowa is DBU of college football, let's not act like they don't have an argument. Iowa has produced some very good DBs.
I'm not sure that Stanford isn't still considered DBU though. I mean, Stanford has churned out tight end after tight end.
Well, that's tight end, not DB, defensive back.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I like Dane Belton could easily, if he plays his card right, like he could easily start at safety for the Giants day one.
Ran a 4.43 in a 40-yard dash in the combine.
And with today's NFL, how the game goes, speed kills. They are automatically attracted to. All right, if you can fly, you're gonna play. Like we're gonna do something. Which obviously, like their draft is predicated on the success of the first 2 dudes, right? For them to get Kayvon Thibodeau at 5 and Evan Neal at 7, these are both dudes who spent time on different mocks as the number 1 overall pick, right? Like at one point in time, Kayvon Thibodeau was number 1 overall pick. For a majority of the mock draft season, Evan Neal was the number 1 overall pick. And you got that guy at 7. You got Kayvon Thibodeau, who probably would have gone higher than 5 if he played the full college football season. I just think Oregon just, the wheels fell off there. There wasn't really a chance for them to make the college football playoff. And he just said, I'm just going to focus on, getting drafted. And it worked out for him. So their success really predicates on those 2 dudes.
I totally agree with you on that.
I think Giants fans could really give a damn about the rest of them, unless the rest of the guys, turn out good, like Cordell Flott and Dane Belton. Let's not act like these guys aren't going to get reps at their respective positions, especially with a guy like James Bradbury getting traded away. That opens up the starting corner spot for somebody. Yep. And that's a big shoe to fill.
Yeah, man. I mean, and let me say this I've always said this about Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, he holds himself up. I mean, there's some guys that you just kind of look and you're like, oh, he might have some, a curve in the league, or he might, he doesn't like uphold himself like a. Kayvon Thibodeau upholds himself like a pro. He was upholding himself like a pro. His seniors, like his season in, his previous season in Oregon. I mean, he's like, man, forget this. I'm getting paid. I don't care. I don't miss getting paid, not getting paid in college. I mean, he just upheld himself like he was already a pro, in my opinion. I mean, it feels like he's already been in the league already, in my opinion. So that's the kind of guy, I think, the kind of confidence that you're going to get out of a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau. He's going to be a day 1 immediate impact for your team. And then when I look at
for David, Dwayne Belton is 21 right now, so I do not think he's a senior. I think he went out as a junior. So.
Okay. And then when I look at Dwayne Belton from Iowa.
Yeah. I think he was a junior.
When I look at their second round pick, though, guys, David's right. I mean, that was a head scratcher. I mean, he did Wendell was Robinson. That's his name. He did have 104 receptions. That's the school record. He had 15.4 after the catch for Kentucky. So he's a guy that can get into. But he's also 5'8", $178 with a soaking wet with a rock in his hand, right? So he's a little guy. He's undersized. You added another undersized guy. When you
They have
like,
two other guys on that roster, the exact same guys.
That are
Sterling
like
Shepard and Kadarius Toney are the same receiver.
Well,
And
let's not act like they weren't like they've been sold on Kadarius Toney. Like that guy had trade rumors about him.
It's true.
For
It's
a
true.
reason.
And I like Sterling Shepard's game. So.
And when I look at two guys that got picked right after that guy, I look at John Mechie from Alabama, probably could have had a better impact, played on Alabama, and I look at a guy named David Ojabo. You could have drafted and staffed him for a year. You're not gonna do anything. Next year you have David Ojabo and Kayvon Thibodeau wreaking havoc on your defense as edge rushers. So they kind of dropped the ball on that pick when you have a guy like David Ojabo still up there that had a top 10 grade before the injury.
Totally agree with you on that. And that's a good point. Then Cordell Float is going to start probably for this team. It will start for this team. A third round pick at the cornerback position, 6'1", 175 pounds, little undersized. At least weight wise, he's going to have to put some muscle on. But this guy he's going to start for this team this season, and he's going to start a lot of games.
A lot.
Yeah. David Henderson says he personally would have drafted 2 more offensive linemen to show up protection for Jones. I mean, they did take 2 guards later in the draft, another wide receiver to add another weapon. I actually think they're okay on weapons. I actually kind of like their receiving core. Let's swing from their draft. Let's talk about their free agency a little bit. So notable additions: Matt Glowinski, guard, Tyrod Taylor backing up Daniel Jones, John Feliciano, center, and then major departures: Austin Johnson, James Bradbury, who we mentioned who got released, Evan Ingram left for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jabril Peppers is now gone, Keon Crozen is another corner that's no longer on this team, and Will Hernandez, a reliable guard who has been on this team for a few years since now he's no longer on this team. They did re-sign a couple of their own guys. Hold on one second. They re-signed Ricky Seals-Jones. They got Ricky Seals-Jones at the tight end position. They re-signed C.J. Board, who's a wide receiver. Jalen Douglas is a guard. They stick to Matthew Breida from the Buffalo Bills. Jahid Ward, Justin Ellis, and Robert Foster, and a bunch of other random guys that really are really all that relevant. They re-signed their long snapper, Casey Kurter.
Yeah, but right now, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. Most guys that really don't matter, right? In my opinion. When I look at the departures, right, a lot of people, I got Cowboys. I mean, I talk to Cowboys fans all the time, and I'm hoping to get some Cowboys fans on here when we do the Cowboys season preview. But these Cowboys fans are like, oh, James Bradbury. They're like, James Bradbury's getting burned. He's getting burned. He's not going to do anything in Philly. I'm like, shut up. James Bradbury's going to do something in Philly. Okay, and then
that duo of Darius Slay and James Bradbury is probably a top 5 duo in the league. I
got Cowboys fans making me sick when they say James Bradbury ain't gonna do nothing with Philly. And then I look at Evan Ingram. I like to call him Butterfingers, Mr. Butterfingers over there. I'm actually glad he's gone for them. And they get to start fresh with a guy, maybe another talent at tight end. Because he was another underwhelming prospect that they had on that team, in my opinion. Mr. Butterfingers, that's what I like to call him.
And I do like Ricky Seals-Jones. When he's been in positions to start at tight end, he's been productive in Washington and in Arizona.
It's funny that you brought up, Cowboys fans trashing other divisional opponents, other divisional players. Right, they're the same guy. Like they're the same fans who bash Kirk Cousins because Dak beat him 4 times. Like, did Dallas beat Washington, or did Dak beat Kirk Cousins because he's just simply better, or was Dallas just that much better than Washington at the time?
Right.
Like, let's not act like exactly. So, Evan Ingram, Jabril Peppers, Will Hernandez. I'll get to Will Hernandez in a minute. And James Bradbury. So James Bradbury, Ingram, Jabril Peppers. Those are 3 guys who, I think, of the 3, obviously they're going to miss Bradbury the most. I think Evan Ingram and Jabril Peppers, those 2 dudes just need a fresh start. elsewhere. Right? Like it was just I need to get out. Like I need to get out of here. I need to see somebody. I need to see something different. I need to see something that's not Times Square. I need to eat something that's not cardboard. I mean New York style pizza. My bad.
Oh, Christian. Oh.
Oh, Christian, baby. And you know what? Jabril Peppers is in a good spot. I mean, he's coming off that ACL injury or whatever the case is. That season-ending injury, but he's in a good spot in New England. So, I think you're right. He does need a fresh spot, fresh face, but they are losing a lot with James Bradbury in the defensive backfield. And I really am concerned. I'm concerned because this defense, they're going to go from 15th, middle of the pack in passing yards per game, to probably damn near dead last.
Yeah, I mean, the secondary. They have a lot of young players in the secondary.
It's definitely gonna be front seven dependent, right? Like if Kayvon Thibodeau and the crew can create enough pressure to make opposing quarterbacks rush their throws.
And they could do that. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is on this team still. Leonard Williams is still on this team. Ozzie Ojulari, who they drafted in the first round or the second round last year.
The one guy I'm looking at middle linebacker, Mr. Chase Down himself, Blake Martinez, let the guy get past him 7 yards and makes the tackle. That guy is, I don't really like that guy.
Get over it. Get it over it.
He is gone.
But Xavier McKinney's in his second season. Julian Love, I think, is going into his third season. So, like, this is an extreme. And then they have Adoree Jackson, who's bounced around the league a little bit.
He's most. But what I want to get to, like, Will Hernandez was a, like you said, I had high hopes for him coming out of UTEP. And did he get COVID? I think he ended up catching COVID. And let me get this right. He caught COVID. He did. October 29, 2020, he tested positive for COVID-19. He was placed on the reserve/COVID-19 list, came back healthy, but never got a starting job back. Right? So October in the NFL season, that's early enough to get your starting job back if you're coming off an injury, right? Or something like that. He was on the active roster, but he remained a backup for the entire season, and he lost his left. According to
this website, actually, he played last season. He played 17 games, started all 17 games. Played 1,000. The season before, he only played 14 games and started only 6 of them. He only played basically 50% of the team snaps. Last season, he played 95% of the Giants' offensive snaps last season.
And if that's the case, then I don't understand how you let a guy like that walk.
I don't know, man.
I don't get that.
Especially if you're trying to build up stability in your offensive line. Somebody, you sign a 4-year deal, you drafted who's been there, and it's not like they brought anybody in that's extremely, you're super excited about. I mean, they're going to be starting a rookie at left guard. That could have been Will Hernandez's spot.
Right, and this is a guy. Hey, David, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a guy in 4 years, all with the Giants, right? 16, 16, 13, 17. That's 62 games.
Yep, you're right. He's only missed 3 games as a pro since he became a member of the New York Giants. 2 games, actually. 2.
Okay, all right. So, he started a total of 56.
55.
Okay. And has he given up a sack?
I'm sure he has. I don't have that number in front of me, but I'm sure he has, man.
And Will Hernandez has been solid. That's what we're getting to.
Yeah.
You let a guy like that walk makes no sense to me. Signing Tyrod Taylor. I will forever say the downfall of Tyrod Taylor came at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. They did my man dirty. He led you to a playoff appearance for the first time in 20 years. You repay him by cutting him. Like, that's terrible.
So Will Hernandez played 1,049 snaps last season. He acquired 8 penalties during that time, and he had 7 sacks allowed for the entire season.
Out of 1,000 snaps.
Yeah.
That is really good. That's really good.
But his grade at Pro Football Focus was only 55.9. So I don't necessarily know how they factor that grade in. I have to be like a member to check it. I'm not doing that.
What? So he played 90. What he played 90 what % of the team snaps last season? Just last season.
95.
95% of the team. 95% of the team snaps, and he has a 50 whatever % grade on Pro. Yeah, yeah. Come on, man.
PSF has some weird. Their rankings are weird. I gotta check them out too. But their ratings. They've had a lot of people complain about their ratings.
His rookie season in 2018, he played 1,027 snaps. He only got 2 penalties. He allowed 5 sacks. He graded a 67.9. So, I mean, he's been a productive player in this league. And why the Giants will let him walk is beyond me.
Well, obviously, let me say this. At the guard position, you're not going to get as many holding calls as you will at the tackle position.
Sure.
Right? Because you're not dealing with
you're also not giving up as many sacks because you're not coming off they're not coming up the middle as much.
And John Feliciano, like that's going to be a comfort signing for Brian Daboll because he just spent the last year being a center in the Buffalo Bills offense. Like that was that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So
they only signed him to a 1-year deal, so it must not be that comfortable to him.
I look at this offensive line, TJ. I think it can be solid enough. And also there's the 2 names I bring up: Andrew Thomas, he's going to be healthy, and how's Evan Neal going to be? As a rookie, we can't expect. I mean, we can because he's a top 5 pick or whatever the case, top 6, 7 pick. But I mean, Evan Neal, he's still a rookie. There's still a curve there, right? These ain't guys from the SEC you're playing. These are grown-ass men in the pro football.
Real quick. Mr. Henderson, bro, true Chicagoans know deep dish ain't Chicago pizza. That shit is trash. We think it's trash.
I like deep dish pizza. I don't know what you're talking about. But I understand it when we talk about Chicago style. That's not really Chicago pizza. Like it's not something we get all the time. Like that thin crust from like Nancy's or like that thin crust pizza cut into squares from like Vinny's or Vinny's or Lord Stanley's
or Beggars or Baracos.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Nick and Vito's. Have you ever had Nick and Vito's?
I know Nick and Vito's. I gotta try that one. That's another. I gotta try that one. Baracos is awesome. I love Baracos.
But deep dish is not Chicago style pizza. That's all I want to bring out.
Anyways,
I say that all the time, TJ.
Moving on from there, let's talk about their schedule. Let's make some predictions for how we think their season's going to shake out. The first week of the season, they go to Tennessee, and they have to face up against Derrick Henry. How do you guys see this one shaking out? I'm going to put an L for the New York Giants for this first game of the season.
Big fat L. A big fat L right there.
Yeah, get used to seeing big fat L's throughout the schedule.
I am interested. I'm going to be interested how that young Giant defense handle that Tennessee run game. Yeah, pretty much. Like the first time Kayvon Thibodeau meets Derrick Henry, that's gonna be must-see TV. If it happens to come across that way. But yeah, that's an L. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Next week, the Carolina Panthers come into East Rutherford, New Jersey, and I actually think the Giants actually get a victory here. Maybe the only one they get this season, but they're a better team than Carolina right now. At least right now on paper.
Wow.
Just disrespectful. Damn.
Right?
Only one they're gonna get this season. Woo-wee.
I mean, I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, but yeah, I mean, they're gonna get. Maybe they'll get another one. Actually, they'll get one more.
Wow.
Anyways,
Dallas at home. I think they win. I think they beat Dallas. I legitimately think they can beat Dallas.
I will respectively disagree with you.
Izzy, they would have beat them last year had Daniel Jones not got his fucking bell right. Trying to
got injured. No, this is an L for the Cowboys. This is an L for the Cowboys. I mean, this is an L for the Giants. I'm sorry. No, this is an L for the Giants. I'm sorry. This is an L for the Giants. I'm sorry. L for the Giants.
The next week, the Chicago Bears come into East Rutherford, New Jersey. TJ, do they continue this 2-game winning streak that they have the Giants on, or do they beat the Bears? Or do the Bears beat the Giants?
I was just savoring that last taste of rum. No, they don't beat the Bears.
They don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they don't beat the Bears. I got to fall to 1-3.
I actually have them beating the Bears, and not because I'm being a homer.
You're just a hater, dude. You're such a hater, dude.
No, I honestly think that they're gonna lose. They're gonna beat the Bears at home. I honestly think they are. I don't think the Bears are gonna be that great this season. So
the Bears are going to be a borderline playoff team this season. Okay, so do with that as you will. The next week they go to London on a neutral site and go to Green.
He ain't say nothing egregious. Like if you look at the Bears schedule, look at their schedule. Look, like they could be a.
You know those memes. You know that meme? You know what meme is? Hold on there.
All I'm going to say is look at the schedule.
Hey,
we will get to the Bears when we do the Bears season preview. But let's talk about the next game. They play the Green Bay Packers. This game is a home game for the Packers. It is in London. This game is starting at 9:30 in the morning on the network. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they play this game. The Green Bay's winning.
That a Sunday?
Yeah.
Hey, Henderson. I know you're here. Give me your predictions. Probably gonna be like 103-2 or something like that.
The Packers beat the
predictions. They're not gonna score 100 points. Once it's stop and crap.
The Packers could play the Giants on the moon and they still win this game.
This is the.
I think this is gonna be a blowout.
This is the 5th game of the season. By this point, Aaron Rodgers should be accustomed to playing without Devontae Adams.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy that, what did he do in the league?
No.
Get used to Christian Watkins soon, okay? All right. Next game, David.
Moving on.
Packer bashing over here.
The Baltimore Ravens coming to East Rutherford.
I was legit. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was legitimately thinking about that game because, like, is Green Bay going to be offensively? Are they going to be as good as we think they are? Like, seriously, Devontae Adams masked a lot of blemishes about that receiving corps.
No, I think they're going to regress on offense.
I'm being serious.
Well, let me tell you something. The Giants last year were 25th in yards rushing, in yards allowed on the rushing, in rushing last year defensively. Okay. So I think the Green Bay Packers are in good standing because they didn't really add anybody.
You think that trend continues?
Of nature. I don't think the Giants have added anybody of interest that piques my interest. That's going to say that's going to move the needle of 25th. Worse in the league. So, just saying. Anyways.
Moving on. The Baltimore Ravens come into New Jersey. Do the Baltimore Ravens leave New Jersey with a W, or do they take an L?
Yes.
Ravens.
Come on now. This is gonna be one of Lamar Jackson's best games of the season right here, baby. This is gonna be one of his best games of the season.
I totally agree with you on that. I think Baltimore wins this game fairly easily. Moving on from here, they go to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Do they win? Does Jacksonville get this game?
No, this is a W for the Giants right here, baby. And all 50% capacity that goes to Jacksonville. They're going to be sad.
In Duval? Duval County?
I think a game like this is, it could do one or two things. It could either sell a lot of people, like it could either buy a lot of people on Trevor Lawrence depending on how he looks, or it could sell a lot of people on Trevor Lawrence depending on how he looks. Like if he goes out that game and he goes for like 330 with 3 touchdowns and they lose, people are going to be like, all right, Trevor Lawrence is decent, they just got to tweak this, tweak that. But if he goes out and he throws for like, he can't get 300 yards and he struggles, there are going to be some quick sellers of Trevor Lawrence stock after a game against the Giants. Like this game is going to go one or two ways, and it's the same thing for Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones at this stage of his career can't beat a rebuilding Jacksonville team,
I mean, he's on our rebuilding Giants team.
But Daniel Jones has the experience that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have. However much older he is, that's still 3 years of NFL experience to Trevor Lawrence going into year 2. Right? So
I just think this is one of those games Saquon Barkley could have a good game in this game.
If he's in the game. He has to be in the game. I mean,
you're
not wrong.
That's always kind of a question when it comes to Saquon Barkley. I will actually take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I do think that secondary in Giants is going to be a mess.
I'm with you.
I give me the Jaguars to win this game. Moving on, before their bye, they go to Seattle, take on the Seahawks, and Drew Lock versus Daniel Jones. 12th man maybe or may not be there. Who do you got them winning this game? In Seattle.
Let me tell you something right now, right here, right now. This is gonna be that Jacksonville game is gonna be the start of a 3-game win streak for the New York Football Giants because they get a win in Seattle. Here, mark them down for a 2-game win streak going into the bye.
I'm gonna have them lose to Seattle. I still think Seattle has some decent pieces there.
You're just so goddamn disrespectful, bro. Like, oh my god, who raised you? What happened? Were you not loved as a kid?
I'm taking Seattle to win the game,
bro.
They still have Tyler Lockett. They still have DK Metcalf. They should still have an offense that is explosive. And Giants have a not great secondary. On their offense, they have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Those guys are still there. They haven't gone anywhere.
And Russell Wilson struggled. Russell
Wilson, Drew Lock could still sling it.
Hey, no, he can sling it, but he's gonna be running around like a chicken with his head cut off the whole game.
They added Charles Cross.
Is Alex Collins Mr. 2-point whatever?
Alex Collins is gonna have to retire. I've told you this already. Anyways, they have
my God. I can still hear David complaining about Alex Collins in my head from last year. Oh my God! Let's go.
Oh my God!
I'm with you. They won 2 in a row. There's no way Seattle can win this game. There's like none. And
then they have their bye week.
The same offensive line that was protecting a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson is now protecting Drew Lock, who's fighting for his NFL mortality as a starting quarterback.
Moving on from this, we have the bye week. We got the bye week. Then Houston comes to town. This is where I had the Giants getting their second victory. I will take them to beat the Houston Texans.
I got the Giants getting their 5th victory. This is the 3rd game in a row they're going to win. They're 5-4 at this point. They're into the thick of things. Into the thick of it. Yeah, right. 5-4 right now. 3-game win streak. This is a feel-good story. They might get 4 in a row. Detroit coming in at MetLife Stadium. Let's see.
TJ, Houston or the Giants?
Davis Mills versus what's his name, Daniel Jones. Give me I'm with Izzy. Give me New York.
I took New York too. All right, let's not forget I took the New York Giants too. Let's not single me out here. And then Detroit comes to town into MetLife Stadium. Do you guys have them beating Detroit? This game is in New Jersey, in the home field of the New York Giants. Do they beat New Jersey? Yes or no?
I'm gonna go ahead and say, give me the Giants with 4 in a row, baby. They beat Detroit. Give me the Giants 4 in a row. They won 4 in a row. This might be the last game of the season that they win before they go on a slide. Okay? They beat Detroit, and this is going to be their last one of the season for me. So they're 6-4 at this point. They're all good and dandy, and then they go on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-game losing streak to end the season. That's all I got to say.
I'm actually going to agree with you on all of the things you just said. I think they beat Detroit, and then I think they lose out for the rest of the schedule. TJ, do you agree with that assessment, yes or no?
No.
He's gonna put a Cowboys thing here. He's gonna put a Cowboys to Washington.
You believe in the Commanders.
But this, I think this Detroit game, I liken it to the Jacksonville game, right? Like it's two teams still trying to find out, like the Giants, like what's our identity? Who are we? What do we want to be? Right? Like when we'll get to Detroit. Detroit has some nice offensive weapons. I remember St. Brown. What's his? The running back that we all like.
DeAndre
yeah,
Swift.
we all like DeAndre Swift. Panay Sewell as the anchor on that offensive line.
I mean, they have Frank Ragnow, who might be the best center in the league. Their other right tackle is an excellent player as well.
I'm gonna just say this.
They have at one point, they have like one of the most underrated offensive lines in the league.
I'm gonna say this. We just saw the bag Quentin Nelson just got, right? We all saw that, right?
Yeah.
We all saw the bag Quentin Nelson. When Frank Ragnow has to get paid,
he's already the highest paid center in the league.
when he is up for a new contract, boy,
he's already the highest.
Gonna be mad.
Detroit's running game this season. I mean, it might be a factor. I mean, you got Jamal Williams as well, still, right? DeAndre Swift.
They have DJ Shark.
I mean, whatever.
DJ Shark Jr. is a good player. Josh Reynolds is still on this team.
Yeah,
they have Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker at left tackle is one of the best left tackles in the league. Like
I just think and TJ Hawkinson, quiet as kept, top 10 tight ends. I'm saying it right now.
Top 5.
Oh yeah, no,
top 5.
You gonna go top 5? I'm just saying, Detroit's in kind of the same spot as a lot of these teams are. They're like, okay, we're gonna go with this week. We're gonna go with this quarter. We're a very good team. We're on a precipice of being a great maybe a borderline playoff team if we get the one or two right pieces. And I think they're in the sweepstakes for my boy from Bama and Ohio State, just like the Giants are, right?
No, the Giants.
Yeah, Bryce Young and my boy.
No. You talking about Detroit?
Detroit is in that there's no sweepstakes for a quarterback. Because David knows how I feel about this. Because I am going to be shocked if they move off of Jared Goff. You'll be shocked. They're in the same boat. Them in New York, and this is kind of that game.
I think this is a L for the Giants, a close L, like walk-off type L. But if this comes down to a field goal either way, it wouldn't surprise me one bit at all.
Right.
And then do you have them losing out for the rest of the schedule? Like, because I have them losing every single game the rest of the way.
No,
me too.
I have them splitting both games with Washington, and I have them splitting with Philly. And yeah, they lose to Minnesota. They lose to Minnesota in Minnesota, and they lose to the Colts.
Well, we got them splitting with Philly. I think Philly. The only team that Philly's gonna split with
is the Cowboys.
Is the Cowboys. The only team I think in this division that Philly's gonna split with is the Cowboys. In my opinion, bro, it's literally Jalen Hurts. I'm just not sold on him. Like, respectfully, Izzy, I'm just not sold on him like you and some others are. Like, I don't see it, man. Like, I'm not seeing it. Like,
I'm also going to agree with you. I do think they get the Washington game where they have to play them at home. I think they're going to win that game. Yeah. I'll give them one victory, beating the Washington Commanders.
Home and home. They gonna.
But I do not think they beat Philadelphia. I do not think they beat Philadelphia either time.
Bro, like, I saw a picture where it was I think I forgot who the other three duos were in it were, but the last duo was Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. I'm like, well, I'm not picking them. A.J. Brown's fine, right? I'm just not sold on Jalen Hurts.
I have the Giants finish the schedule at 4-13. They will very much be in the sweepstakes for a new quarterback. If the Giants finish the season at 4-13, they will be getting a new quarterback this offseason.
I got them finishing the season 6-11 in the sweepstakes for a new quarterback. I don't think they're going to get the kid from. They're not going to get the Ohio State kid. They're not going to get Bryce Young from Alabama, but they might be in the running for that kid from Florida. Or they, and depending on how Spencer Rattler plays at South Carolina, they might be.
Quiet as kept. The QB to keep your eye out on is the kid from Kentucky.
Yeah, was it Levi? Levis or something. I
can look it up right now.
I think it's Levi.
Anyways, there's gonna be a sweepstakes for a new quarterback at 6-11. Daniel Jones is done after the season. This is gonna be my take on their season. They're gonna be. Will Levis. I think when I look at the season for the Giants, they're gonna be in some close games. They're gonna be in some real ugly ones. They're gonna be in some ugly ones against Dallas, Baltimore, Philly, in my opinion. Where I think Philly's gonna run all over them. You know, this 25th rushing yards per game. I don't see them getting any better with even Kayvon Thibodeau being added. I don't think it moves the needle at all.
You also got to understand, like, it's not like one person is not solving their myriad of issues. Like this is a patch. Like this is not a patchwork, right? This is a full remodel.
Yeah.
They don't have the linebacker. They don't have the linebacker core. They don't have the interior linebacking core to stop the run like they should. Blake Martinez is not that guy. Tell you that right now.
I think they may have the worst secondary in National Football League right now. So.
And they might have one of the worst defenses in football this season. So offensively, I think they'll be in some games if Saquon Barkley is healthy, he returns to form, and Daniel Jones kind of manages the game, gets the ball into short, medium pass runs to Kadarius Toney, lets him get some yak. Kenny Galladay returns to form. Sterling Shepard returns to form. But those are all question marks going into this season. And so I just think that the Giants are going to be 6-11. They're going to have some ugly games. They're going to win some close ones. But I think, in all, they're not that great of a football team.
So let us know down in the comments section.
Kenny Galladay cannot go another season having the same amount of touchdowns as the three of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But let us know down in the comments section how many wins you think the New York Giants are going to have this season. I got them with 4. I think Izzy's got them with 6. And I think TJ had them at 5 or 6 as well. So let us know down in the comments section. Tomorrow, we are jumping back into our NBA content as the NBA draft is Thursday already. That went awfully fast. So we're going to be doing our final mock draft. We're going to predict all of the picks in the NBA draft, and we're going to try to predict any trades. We're also going to talk about this interesting Kyrie Irving situation.
You talk when you say all picks, you mean like both rounds? Or
no, just the first round. Just the first round.
Okay. Just the first round. I was going to say, man,
the second round is too hard to predict because there's always trades with the second round picks, and I think
you're going to get a lot of players from Europe. They're going to get picked and stashed somewhere.
It's a lot of players going in the first round.
Yeah, so we're gonna be jumping into that content, doing the NBA draft, mock draft tomorrow. So don't want to miss that content. Please like, share, and subscribe. This has been Prime Sports World. I'm David On Point. There's CEO Israel Rivera. TJ Hopkins joined us here as always. What do we do here, gentlemen, at the Prime?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
We could use a little less heat because it is hot as balls in the south suburbs of Chicago right now, man.
It is hot as balls. I love that, man. I'm about to go sit in my AC. If you want the NBA draft, everybody, I really suggest you guys go watch that Adam Sandler movie, Hustle. That is a great movie. He plays a scout, an overseas scout for the Philadelphia 76ers. Great movie, man. It just shows like who like they're gonna pick, like the kind of the process of how those guys do. Going overseas and they see like hundreds of prospects and try and delve into who's best. So good movie to see. Yeah.
Before we wrap up on the show here, actually, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the family of Caleb Swanigan. As you may or may not know, he passed away today. Earlier this morning. He went through some stuff during the COVID stuff. He was the first round pick of the Portland Trail Blazers at one point. It's sad to see, what happened. Mental health is real. So if you have, if you need to get yourself checked out for your mental health, you got to take care of it because it can manifest. And so just thoughts to his family and friends, man, like for real.
Yeah. My condolences to Caleb Swanigan. He had a lot of potential. And always, check in on guys and help them out. I mean, same thing that happened with, same thing kind of in a way. Marion Jones had those mental health issues as well. The Dallas Cowboys running back that passed away. So yeah, Marion Barber, I said Marion Jones. Marion Barber. So yeah, man. My condolences out to Caleb Swanigan. I don't even care about talking about him as the basketball player. I just, as the person, Caleb Swanigan.
you will be missed. So
that's for sure. We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good day. We'll see you later.